In the outer rim, orbiting a lonely star, sits a scorched and rust-colored planet, Geonosis. To many across the galaxy, it's remembered as a battlefield, the place where the Clone Wars began. But beneath the blood-red sand lies something far more ancient and far more alien. This world is home to the Geonosians, a species of insectoid beings whose way of life is as rigid as it is efficient. Their society isn't ruled by traditional kings or elected by votes. It's carved into their biology. Welcome to Star Wars Academy. Today we're going to dig deep into the terrifying beauty of the Geonosian Caste system and how eusociality shaped not only their species, but the entire galactic history. To understand the Geonosians, we first need to understand a concept from Earth biology, eusociality. It's a term used to describe the highest level of social organization among animals. While the phenomenon of eusociality is incredibly rare, it has led to the existence of some of the most widely recognized species on Earth today, seen in ants, bees, termites, and only in one species of mammal, the naked mole rat. A eusocial species is defined by three key characteristics. First, individuals cooperate to raise offspring, often those that are not their own. Second, multiple generations live together within the same colony. And third, the species is divided into reproductive and non-reproductive castes. In essence, a small elite produces the young, while the vast majority of individuals sacrifice their own reproductive potential to serve the collective, rather than producing offspring themselves. It's society by design, biological determinism on a planetary scale, and it perfectly describes the Geonosians. Geonosis is an arid world, baked by its sun and plagued by dust storms. Surface life is limited, so over millennia the Geonosians adapted. They built downward. Their civilization took root in massive subterranean hives, towering megastructures of bone, resin, and stone. These weren't just cities, they were living colonies, grown rather than built, shaped by instinct as much as architecture. At the center of each hive lies the queen, an enormous, grotesque creature like Karina the Great. Queens are biologically specialized for reproduction, immobile, swollen, and dependent on their attendees for food and service. The queen is the most important individual in a Geonosian society as they birth the entire hive population. Karina herself wasn't just a mother, though. She was a tyrant. Using parasitic brainworms, she exerted direct neural control over her dead subjects, making it so the hive never truly died. These worms, inserted into the navel cavity, allowed her to dominate not only Geonosians but other species as well. Her power was absolute. Where real-world insect queens influence behavior chemically, Karina did it physically. It was eusociality evolved, or corrupted into something on a far greater level, something that could be transferred to other species, a unified consciousness, a hive mind. She wasn't alone in her class though. The existence of a queen suggests the existence of an intermediary female caste, what we might call princess class. These Geonosians could serve as potential successors to the queen, but their lives would likely be fragile. In eusocial species on Earth like honeybees, rival queens are often killed off before they can challenge the dominant matriarch. The same way may be true on Geonosis. Through hormonal suppression or direct execution, these females were probably prevented from rising, preserving the queen's total monopoly on reproduction. Queens were born, hatched through unique eggs, such as the one seen in Star Wars Rebels. It's likely that queen eggs were stored separately from other eggs in the Geonosian hives, such that they could be hatched when a new leader was needed, or the queen could have them destroyed before they were even given a chance, solidifying her role in the Geonosian society. Beneath the queen are the warriors, tall, usually winged, and heavily armored. They serve as the hive's defenders and enforcers. Unlike the mindless droids they helped construct, Geonosian warriors possess basic tactical reasoning and autonomy. They are bred for violence. Their skeletal frames, sharp claws, and membranous wings make them ideal shock troopers. These are the Geonosians we see in the Petranaki arena, battling Jedi with brutal efficiency. Yet even here, individuality is an illusion. Warrior Geonosians act in tight formations, responding to threats as one. Whether this is a product of training, genetic memory, or pheromonal coordination remains unknown. What is certain, however, is that their aggression, like everything else, is tied to function. But the warrior caste isn't monolithic. Within this class are specialized sub-castes, each bred for different tactical roles within the Hive's military and defense structure. While all Geonosian warriors share common traits like flight capability, hardened exoskeletons, and aggression, some are more elite than others. At the top of the combat hierarchy sits the Brood Alpha. These individuals are larger, more intelligent, and often serve as field commanders or elite gladiators. A Brood Alpha may be distinguished by unique armor plating, enhanced musculature, or even behavioral differences such as tactical independence or the ability to issue commands. If regular warriors function like foot soldiers, Brood Alphas are akin to warlords. There is speculation as to whether or not these alphas are simply bred differently, or are selected from the warrior pool and enhanced through chemical treatments or ceremonial rituals. There is also the chance that they are born directly into the role, genetically predetermined champions of the Hive. Below the Brood Alpha are the standard soldiers, the rank-and-file enforcers of the Hive security. These warriors may act as guards, raiders, or defenders of Hive tunnels. Though not capable of advanced independent thought, their instincts are finely tuned for group tactics. Whether driven by pheromonal signals or deeply embedded in neural conditioning, these soldiers act with chilling coordination. In battle, they don't retreat unless ordered. They don't question, they simply obey. And then there are the spies, a more enigmatic subset of the warrior caste. These Geonosians are smaller, stealthier, and often wingless, bred or altered for infiltration and reconnaissance. It may seem strange for a Hive-based species to value espionage, but the Geonosians were no strangers to galactic dangers. During the lead up to the Clone Wars, the Separatists relied on Geonosian spies to monitor Republic activities on the desert planet. These spies may lack brute strength, but they excel in stealth and mimicry. This caste, more than any other, challenges the stereotype of Geonosians as mindless drones. Overlapping with the warrior class, but distinct in purpose, are the leadership castes. These aren't queens, nor are they typical soldiers. They occupy a strange middle ground between political power and martial authority, and the most famous of these is Poggle the Lesser. Poggle was the Archduke of the Stalgassan Hive, the most dominant Geonosian hive during the time of the Clone Wars. His title suggests a hereditary or appointed role, and yet he wielded real influence not only within Geonosis, but across the Separatist Council. Poggle wasn't just a figurehead, he was a strategist, an industrial leader, and overseer of the droid foundries that built the Confederacy's war machine. He was also entrusted with the early schematics of the Death Star. This level of trust from Count Dooku and the Sith implies exceptional intelligence, if not autonomy. It's possible that Poggle represented a rare evolutionary offshoot within the caste structure, an intelligent male bred not for reproduction or warfare, but for governance and diplomacy. But Poggle wasn't alone. Figures like Sun Fac, Poggle's chief lieutenant, demonstrate a clear tier of military leadership from within the Hive. Sun Fac served as both a high-ranking official and ruthless enforcer. In Legends, he was known for commanding the Geonosian execution arenas and hunting down escaped prisoners with cold efficiency. His role blurred the lines between soldier, judge, and executioner. It's possible that Sun Fac was in fact a Brood Alpha himself, one elevated by experience and success rather than mere genetic inheritance. These leadership roles raise fascinating questions though. Were Poggle and Sun Fac anomalies, born once per generation to lead, or were they members of an overlooked caste, one that combined warrior resilience with strategic intellect? Perhaps Geonosis, with its deeply ingrained caste codes, still allowed for some form of meritocratic elevation. Even in a society defined by biology, exceptions may still exist. The presence of such leadership figures suggests that Geonosian eusociality may be more flexible than it appears. While most castes are locked by biology, some roles, particularly those involving interaction with off-world powers, require adaptability. Leaders like Poggle and Sun Fac were not just administrators, they were survivors in a galaxy that didn't respect Hive loyalty. Their ability to negotiate, manipulate, and lead suggests that the Geonosians were more than just drones, they were political players, and for a Hive species, that makes them truly exceptional. The most overlooked caste were the drones. Typically male, drones are bred for reproduction and little else. A good example is Click-Clack, a Geonosian responsible for keeping a queen egg hidden from the Empire after the cleanse of Geonosis. This could very well be the only Geonosian left living on the entire planet, and if that egg does end up hatching and is raised successfully, the Geonosian species could come back strong. In nature, drone bees exist solely to mate with the queen before dying. On Geonosis, drones may be used for mass labor, cannon fodder, or even gladiatorial entertainment. They are disposable, their purpose spent once their role is fulfilled. Some accounts describe them as socially mute, wandering the hive until summoned for breeding. In this case, they represent male ants, functionally irrelevant until mating season and then swiftly discarded. The largest and most populous caste is the worker class. Small, wingless, and tireless, these Geonosians are the engineers of their civilization. They build the massive hive towers and tend to larval young, maintain infrastructure, and support the queen. Despite their lack of wings or reproductive organs, worker Geonosians are not unintelligent. Their architectural achievements rival anything in the galaxy. Using a resinous secretion, they mold the hive from organic materials, creating chambers optimized for heat dispersion, airflow, and security. Like termites, their instincts are architectural. Like bees, their loyalty is chemical. They are the hive's beating heart. In many real-world eusocial species, caste roles are determined by nutrition or pheromones. Larvae may develop into workers or queens depending on what they're fed. The same may be true for Geonosians. Hormonal control from the queens or specific nutrient intake could lock in a developing Geonosian's role for life. The efficiency of Geonosian society made them invaluable to the separatists. Their hive-like structure mirrored the centralized control of the droid armies. Their capacity for mass production allowed them to operate vast weapons factories. Their loyalty was unshakable, and that loyalty extended to projects that would haunt the galaxy for generations, including the construction of the first Death Star. But after the war, the Geonosians paid a heavy price. With their usefulness spent and too much knowledge about secret projects, the Empire turned on them. Fearing rebellion, or perhaps simply unwilling to allow a species that could mass reproduce and mobilize so quickly to survive, the Empire initiated a genocidal sterilization campaign. By the time of Star Wars Rebels, the species had been reduced to near extinction. The hives lay silent. Their spires crumbled into dust. All that remained was a single queen egg protected by a lone Geonosian. Click-clack. It's one of the darkest chapters in galactic history, a civilization exterminated not for ideology, but because of their biology. In studying the Geonosians, we're reminded just of how powerful biology can be. On Earth, eusocial species thrive in highly competitive environments. Ants dominate tropical ecosystems, termites engineer vast underground cities, and bees communicate with dance and scent. Even the naked mole rat, a creature of tunnels and darkness, shows mammalian evolution can echo insect behavior. In each case, nature favors cooperation at a cost: individuality. But in Star Wars, where identity and freedom are central themes, the Geonosians stand as a tragic counterpart. They're born to serve, conditioned to obey. They have no concept of rebellion except as a collective response to an external threat. Where humans fight for self-expression, Geonosians fight for the hive. Could a eusocial species like this ever truly integrate into the broader galactic community? Perhaps not. Perhaps that's why they were feared, not because they were evil, but because they were alien in the truest sense of the word. And yet, there's a haunting beauty to their way of life. A kind of unity that the Republic could never achieve, a clarity of purpose that the Jedi only glimpsed at. In the end, the Geonosians may not have been monsters. They were survivors, engineers, architects, and in the end, perhaps victims. Their spires still rise like bones from the sand, empty and echoing, a testament to what they built and what they lost. The hives are quiet now, but for those who study xenobiology, their legacy is never forgotten. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the xenobiology of Star Wars, make sure to like and subscribe, and let us know what you want to learn about next by dropping a comment below. What other alien species or ecological systems would you explore next? We've got more hive minds, apex predators, and force-sensitive fauna coming soon, right here on Star Wars Academy. Until next time, may the Force be with you.